Hi, I'm Jay, an REU intern at the Chicago Botanic Garden. My project focuses on cycads, a lineage of plants that dates back to about 300 million years ago, way before the dinosaurs. But plants are a lot older than that. Let's go back in time. Believe it or not, this pond scum is the great granddaddy of all the plants we know and love today. Not this specific pond scum, of course, but this is what the ancestor of all plants could have looked like. Plants are descended from aquatic green algae, which has been around for about 1 billion years and hasn't changed much since. Compare this billion-year-old green algae fossil to the modern algae from the genus Cladophora, and you'll see what I mean. We don't quite know when plants started colonizing land, but it's been estimated that they emerged around 500 million years ago. After 500 million years submerged in water, plants suddenly had to figure out how to keep all their tissues nice and hydrated. The earliest land plants were short and squat. They had to be, since they relied on diffusion to hydrate themselves, where water passively moves through the tissues. Picture trying to drink out of a sponge instead of a straw, and you'll have a pretty good idea why they were so short. If you ever come across a soggy patch of soil, look down and you might spot the modern descendants of these ancient bryophytes, like this moss or this liverwort. About 430 million years ago, one lineage of plants finally figured out how to make straws. These plants, called tracheophytes, develop xylem and phloem, pipe-like tissues that could carry water and nutrients throughout the plant. This is a reconstruction of Cooksonia, one of these early vascular plants. Although we don't see plants that look quite like this today, it's very possible that every vascular plant you see is actually its descendant. Vascular tissue was a huge step for plants, allowing them to grow much taller and in drier soil. Pretty soon, plants became much more complex, such as this Zostrophyll, a lineage that's currently extinct. Meanwhile, its sister lineage, the Lycophytes, became a prominent feature of the Carboniferous landscape 350 million years ago. Along with carrying water, the vascular tissues in some Lycophytes, such as this Lepidodendron, thicken and bundle together, creating wood. This innovation allowed them to tower to heights of 160 feet, making them members of Earth's first forest. Lycophytes today aren't nearly as huge, but they're still going strong. Their modern incarnations, like these beautiful Selaginella, don't grow to more than a few feet high. Lycophytes aren't the only Carboniferous giants either. Manilophytes, a lineage that includes ferns and horsetails, also grew to massive heights during the Carboniferous. The Calamites, an extinct lineage of horsetails, could reach similar 160-foot heights to Lepidodendron, with segmented woody trunks reminiscent of bamboo. Today's horsetails are pretty dinky compared to their ancient relatives, but they're still pretty cool plants. Look near bodies of water and you might find a cluster of horsetails. Tree ferns, like this Ceronius, also evolved in the Carboniferous, growing up to 30 feet high. Even without wood, they were able to support themselves thanks to a thick mass of rootlets surrounding their stems. Surprisingly, although little guys like these might first come to mind when you think of ferns, they can still get pretty huge today. This king fern was about twice my height, and the largest specimens can reach 23 feet high. Tree ferns are also still around, though they evolved independently from the tree ferns of the Carboniferous. The thing is, all these plants I've discussed so far share one important characteristic. All of them reproduce by spores. In the Carboniferous, when things were all wet and swampy, it wasn't a huge problem to reproduce through spores, which need water for both fertilization and germination. But when things dried up in the Permian, roughly 300 million years ago, those spore plants shrunk back along with the swamps, letting the competition take over. A real sleeper lineage, gymnosperms, the earliest seed plants, had actually been around for 50 or 60 million years before their surprise takeover. These guys are everywhere these days, and include familiar faces like pine, cypress, and ginkgo, along with some weirdos. Gonidophytes, like Welwitschia, which can live for thousands of years in dry desert conditions and only has 2 long, stringy leaves that never stop growing. Saving the best for last, the gymnosperm lineage also includes cycads, the one and only subject of my research. These ancient beauties have been around since before the dinosaurs, but they aren't doing so hot these days. In fact, over half of cycad species are critically endangered. This summer, I'm doing my part to help cycad conservation, working with my mentor Steve Girard to check cycad collections for hybrids, which can be harmful to local populations when reintroduced into the wild. Thanks to the Chicago Botanic Garden for making this research possible, and the NSF's REU program for the opportunity for me to participate in it. Also, thanks to my mentor Steve for his guidance in the mystical ways of the genetics lab, and to all the friends that I met through the program. And thank you for joining me on this journey through time.